Not a long walk.
Oh,
it was like 45th or 44th.
Yeah, you got like
down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, like a 15 block walk. So,
and I was thin then. If I needed to run, I could run.
Now, all right. So let's take this to another level here. What happens if Chucky attacks you on the street? What happens? There's nobody else around. It's not this close quarter situation where you've got to worry about, can Chucky work the angles? Can he get under the subway seat and be able to come after your legs? Like, it is you and Chucky, Street Fighter 2, mano a mano in the streets. You and Chucky, 3 a.m. Little person, Chucky mask, no clear weapon. You and Chucky, what's going to be? Fight or flight?
My first thought is to run to Scores, the Adult Gentlemen's Club. Get in there. My second, a lot of it involves running because I'm not going hand-to-hand combat with a guy dressed like Chucky. And maybe the move is try to find one of the many piles of garbage in Manhattan and hope that you can toss them into the garbage, and then the beasts that reside in the garbage, the rats that are like little cats, will get them.
So that's a real. Now you have to be a veteran to say something like that, because that is a 3 a.m. strategy in New York, because all the trash is on the street, right? Everybody is, and the trash is like 2 Chuckies high. Yep. Like you could throw him in there and lose him. He'd just be gone. And as you said, the denizens, the rats, might be it. Maybe the whole thing might be over.
You know what's funny about Manhattan? You actually get used to it. It's crazy, and they're big. Like you see them running across the sidewalk out of the garbage.
Oh yeah.
And like initially when you first see it, because you see them on the subway, like big ones down on the tracks, and then sometimes running up the stairs. Like New Yorkers get to a point where they're like, no big deal.
I will never.
And they're big. They are gross looking.
Never forget. A couple years back, I was walking with a lady friend in streets of Boston at like 2 a.m. and this giant burrito-sized thing comes flying out across the street, and she gets and I'm there like, it's a rat. Like, okay, let's walk that way.
And they really don't have any interest in you unless you're holding a slice of pizza, and then we know pizza rat. Then you may be at risk.
That's Splinter.
But they're not like seagulls. Like they're not going to run up to you and just grab food out of your hand. I don't think. I've never seen that.
No, they're more polite.
A seagull will swoop right in and just grab a sandwich right out of your hand.
Yeah.
Doesn't the Northeast sound like a wonderful place to live?
It really does. Yeah, and then you, oh God, I'm still stuck on Chucky though. I'm stuck on Chucky.
Okay, let's move on. Let's see if we can Chucky in the next story.
Number 4.
Violent Chucky on the subway. What would he do to one Curt Schilling? Just light him up. Go right for the ankle.
Sock's already bloody.
Go right. Yes. We don't need food. There's already blood right. There's a little bait right there. Red Light Curt is back. Do you remember that nickname?
Actually, don't.
Jim Fregosi nicknamed him that, the former Phillies manager. And then I think there was an executive who called him Red Light Curt. And then he really became Red Light Curt because he's always looking for the cameras. He really became Red Light Curt in the Yankees Diamondbacks World Series, because that was a World Series where Byung-Hyun Kim was a disaster. So Kim would come in, and then Curt would put a towel over his head and be like, this is so miserable. Like, just playing for the camera. Just a D. And, it's funny. Yesterday I saw someone tweet out, and they were like, man, Curt Schilling's really changed. Like, no, he hasn't. I mean, he's gotten worse, but he was always a glory seeker, a me guy. And this Hall of Fame thing is like a dream for him. So he didn't get inducted or voted into, nominated to go into the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think I'd be pretty happy. You're on the verge, dude. You're at 71%. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer based on what he did on the field. We can argue that if you want. But he has taken this snub and just run with it. He was on with Doc Travis this morning, so great landing spot. And he of course made it political, and I think there are some people who have made it political amongst the voters. He said today that if he had just voted Democrat, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know, maybe that's why you fell short. I don't know. What do you think of all this Curt Schilling stuff, which of course he's embracing? This is great for him.
Okay, I'm going to back you up first on the idea of Red Light Curt. Tell you a story from my past. Back when I was a kid reporter in Arizona, it was right after Curt Schilling had been traded to the Diamondbacks. And I walk into the locker room before the game. Literally, there are 2 people in the locker room, me and Curt Schilling. And Kurt's sitting on the couch in the middle of the locker room. He's got this magazine he's flipping through. I am terrified. I've never talked to Curt Schilling before, but I want to do a column about him. And so I walk up and I get like about as far as you and me are right now, and I kind of like mumble out like, hey, Curt, do you have a minute? And he just like glares up at me from the magazine. He's like, for what? I said, for an interview? He's like, oh yeah, come over here. Yeah, come on, sit down. As soon as he heard it was for an interview, we were good to go. Like, he was ready to destroy me if it weren't. But yes, he will find that red light or, skinny print reporter one way or the other. Look, he's playing the conservative media playbook very, very well, finding all the ways to be hated and persecuted. He's forgetting a few things. First of all, he got more votes this year than last year. 71% this year, he got 70% last year. If 71% of people think that you are worthy of something, you are not a victim. You are not a victim of anything. 71% of people can agree. We can't get 71% of people in this country to agree on anything whatsoever. Now, as for Curt wanting to talk about the electorate and whether if he had voted Democrat, he would have been in. Bro, have you met the voting block for the BBWAA? Have you seen how old, white, and fat it is? They look like you, man. Trust me, you are not walking into one of these socialist enclaves that you would claim to hate so much. The only thing 71% of those people can agree on is that Springsteen rules. That's it. That's the only thing baseball writers can agree on. So this whole crap of how people will wait for him, people will, the Veterans Committee will take care of him. The writers already have you. You're 4% away, you jackass.
Number 3.
Did reality hit last night against a real opponent for the Golden Knights? That's kind of a loaded statement. There's a lot to the story.
Yeah, the reality hit. This might be one of the best teams in the NHL, quite honestly. And
who, the Golden Knights or the Blues?
Golden Knights.
Okay.
They played really, really well last night. Robin Lehner's going to have a bad night. I'm not worried about that. But what I am worried about is this idea of we're just going to rotate the goalies. Eventually what's going to happen is we're going to start saying that one guy does well with a little bit of rest and one guy doesn't do well with a little bit of rest. It can't last. You're setting up a controversy that's going to get here before too long. And we already started to hear it last night. I was watching along on social with some of the guys from Sinbin who were like, well, Golden Knights been the better team on the ice except for one area. Like very pointedly talking about Leonard's been terrible. So how quickly do we go back to Marc-Andre Fleury's playing great. I understand you want to keep them fresh. I understand it's a strange season. 1A and 1B, not like this.
Let's do it. A real goalie controversy. That's what we need for another year around the Golden Knights. We'll get more into the Knights with Stormy Buonantony in about 15 minutes.
Number 2.
I don't hate Tom Brady. I'm very jealous. Very jealous. He annoys me. I dislike Bill Belichick. So that was a discussion. I don't know if you heard the promos or the show last week. Von Tol and I were getting into it. He was challenging me on why I would root for Brady to make the Super Bowl, and I laid it out for him. I don't hate Brady. I know he's great. He's annoyingly cool. Here's a good example. This is a Jason Light interview with PK at SI, and Light's the GM of the Buccaneers. You know, when Brady first agreed to go to the Bucs, he's number 12. Godwin is already number 12. So here's Light recalling the convo with Brady about what was going to happen with the number.
We have a number 12 on our team, and he's pretty good, and Chris Godwin. Well, what are you thinking about that? And he said, he's a great player. I'm not going to take his number. You know what number I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of taking maybe number 7. Is that available? Yeah, I think it is. I said, why 7? He goes, go after that 7th Super Bowl. That's pretty cool.
Why is he so cool? Now, as it turns out, he got 12. Godwin moved to 14. And that SOB is in another Super Bowl with a chance to win number 7.
So I guess you also think Joe Girardi the manager of the Phillies, former manager of the Yankees, is pretty hip, pretty cool guy. You don't recall that Joe Girardi was changing his number with the World Series championships for the Yankees? That after he won the World Series, he went from number 27 to number 28. He's like, well, we're going to win our 28th championship.
I like this.
Joe Girardi, Tom Brady, basically the same human being.
New York fan turning it back on Brady. Said, you stole that. You're not that cool. It's not an original idea.
No, come on. Does Brady have a super cool crew cut like Joe Girardi? No.
He's got pretty good hair. Also, one of the things that is really annoying about him. At least when I can't go on another hair rant because I do it every day. At least when you get old, get somewhat uglier. Get old. Like your skills have declined a tiny bit. Who knows? Maybe he's gotten a hair job. He seems like the kind of guy, and his wife would kind of push him to get a hair job.
A hair job? That's a dangerous sledding.
We've got a lot of people who've gotten hair jobs.
Do we?
I think our president got a hair job. I mean, you can see shots of him in the 70s, and he's got the strands with the comb over it. Now it's a little more full and white. Rick Pitino, if you look back, had a big bald spot that was developing all of a sudden. The luscious black hair is combing over.
I mean, we feel like LeBron probably went to the spray can for a little while there, right? Like
I don't feel like LeBron. I mean, yeah, LeBron's done the Ron Popeil shake on hair.
Carlos Boozer. Yeah.
Well, the Boozer one was a full paint job.
Listen, I can't totally empathize like this.
You're not even in the conversation. You can grow a full fro.
This lettuce is fantastic.
I hate you too.
This lettuce is fantastic. The trick to it is I have managed to also just get uglier straight along the facial area below the hair. Like I was looking at some pictures the other day and I was like, not half bad back in the 20s. And then I was looking in the mirror, I was like, woo, how far can I grow the hair and distract a little bit here? So I feel like I'm taking up your advice.
Number 1.
I'm 98% certain Derek Carr's not being traded. Now, that said, I'm all in on talking about Derek Carr being traded. The rumors going on right now include the Raiders shipping Carr with picks to go get Deshaun Watson. Hell, would they kick the tires on the possibility that Aaron Rodgers could be available? I was actually following some social media last night, and one of the cats, Jason, who does late nights on Fox Sports Radio, was talking about teams that should get Stafford. Colts, Patriots, Washington, Niners will be on Stafford. Who should also get in? The Raiders. Send Derek Carr back as a part of it. I think that's an intense troll, but I'll accept the bait. That's not a realistic trade. Matt Stafford is not an upgrade on Derek Carr, is he?
Not even in the ballpark of an upgrade. Look, Derek Carr last year, you know I love my numbers. By Football Outsiders DVOA, 7th graded quarterback in the league. By Pro Football Focus, 8th graded quarterback in the league. You can talk about his fumbling troubles. You can talk about the fact that he doesn't run very well. But you cannot say that Derek Carr would be someone you would send out for Matthew Stafford. You're talking about the same guy. You're talking about the arm talent guy who never seems to be able to get over the hump, except you happen to have the younger, cheaper, better one. Stop with that crap. And you know what? In general, just stop with this with Carr. Look, I don't like the fake burner account stuff. I don't like when the Carr family circus rolls out and starts defending him on Twitter. I don't like any of that crap. But you know what? When it comes to having a quarterback in place, you, Raiders fans, you're doing really damn well, and you need to just snap to reality with that.
It's the Big 5 at 5, brought to you by Battle Born Injury Lawyers. If you've been injured, call Justin Watkins at Battle